Hello everybody. In my earlier video, I referred to the problem of concept of log mean area. We discussed the concept, the fundamentals, and also went through the conduction through a hollow cylinder. In today's video, we will discuss about principles of steady state heat transfer video part 4. We will discuss about we will demonstrate the conduction through a hollow cylinder with the help of a simple example. Then after we will go and do a conduction through a hollow sphere, derive conduction through a hollow sphere equation. After that, we will discuss conduction through solid walls or solid materials in series. So, conduction through solids in series, what will be the heat flux? We will arrive with a mathematical equation approach. So, let's start. Please subscribe to my channel Chemistry 19 Fundamentals by Abir Chakravarti and do like a video if you find it useful. So in my earlier video I discussed about this conduction through a hollow cylinder. So here you can see the inner wall with radius R1, inner layer of the cylinder with radius R1 and outer layer of the cylinder with radius R2. So we derived with the cylinder of length L, we derived fourth equation. In my earlier video you can see derived in the equation of heat flow, that is in the case of conduction, which is equal to Q is equal to Ka Lm. K is our thermal conductivity, A is log mean area, T1 minus T2 our driving force, that is temperature difference, by R2 minus R1, this is resistance, where the log mean area is 2 pi L R2 minus 2 pi L R1 divided by ln of 2 pi L R2 by 2 pi L R1. The concept of log mean area has been discussed in my earlier video, principles of steady state heat transfer part 3. Please refer to the same for a clearer picture of this log mean area. Then after, we will demonstrate the conduction through a hollow cylinder with the help of an example in this video. Let's start. So we are having a problem like a thick walled cylinder tubing of hard rubber having an inside radius of 5 mm and an outside radius of 20 mm is being used as a temporary cooling coil in a bath. So ice water is flowing rapidly inside, and the inside wall temperature is 274.9 Kelvin. The outside surface temperature is 297.1 Kelvin. So basically, what is happening is that the ice water is flowing inside a bath, inside a rubber tubing which is inside a bath. So we find that inside this region our ice water is flowing, and this is the whole system that we can consider. This whole complete system is put in a bath. So we need to cool the bath. For that, here what is happening is that the outside temperature is greater, that is T2 is greater and T1 is less. So in this case, in our case T2 is greater than T1. Now, due to the flow, the outside surface temperature is 297. The outside surface temperature is given as 297.1 Kelvin, and our inside surface temperature is 274.9 Kelvin, which is less inside surface temperature. A total of 14.65 watt must be removed from the bath by the cooling coil. So, how many meter of tubing are needed? Let's find out with the application of our earlier derived formula, which is Q is equal to K Lm, T1 minus T2, R2 minus R1. How to approach this problem? So here we are given thermal conductivity of material, which is rubber here. Our material which is rubber is given to be at 0 degree centigrade, that is 273 Kelvin, is given to be 0.151 watt per meter Kelvin. So if it is not given, you can always refer to appendix of any textbook or chart for thermal conductivity of different materials at different temperatures. So standard temperatures such as 0 degree, 100 degree, 50 degree, or melting point, boiling point of the material. So our radius is given, inside radius which is given as 5 mm. So we convert it into SI. This 5 divided by 1000, we are having 0.005 meter. Further, our radius R2 is being given as 20 mm, that is 20 divided by 1000, we are having 0.02 meter. Further, now we will solve. The calculation will be done first for a length of 1 meter of tubing. So since we do not know how many meter of tubing are needed, let's chalk out what will be the heat flow or heat flux for 1 meter length of tubing. After that, we will calculate the total length of tubing required to remove this our 14.6 watt of heat in the bath. So for this, we have to solve for the approach for 1 meter. Let's solve for 1 meter of tubing. Let's calculate for 1 meter length of tubing. So for this, for calculating for length of 1 meter of tubing, we need to find out A1, A2, area 1, area 2. What is A1 is the inside area of that hollow cylinder. A2 is the outside area, the lateral surface area. By A1 means this is lateral surface area. ALM is our log mean area. So what is A1? A1 is our lateral surface area based on the inside radius is 2 pi L R1. So if you let this value 2 pi for 1 meter length of tubing, let it be 1, 2 pi 1 into R1. Our R1 was 0.005 meters. So calculate will find it to be 0.0314 meters square. Further, now we calculate area 2, which is 2 pi L R2. This will be calculated in the same fashion. It will be 0.1257 meters square. Now we approach for a log mean area, ALN, which is A2 minus A1 ln of A2 by A1. Now we place the values 0.1257 minus 0.0314 divided by ln of 0.1257 divided by 0.0314 equal to 0.0680 meters square. Now this is our log mean area. Now if we substitute all these values, substituting the values in which equation? Let's name this equation as equation 1. If we substitute all these values in equation 1, we get we write equation 1, Q is equal to Ka Lm T1 minus T2 divided by R2 minus R1. So we place in the values here, which is 0.151 our thermal conductivity, watt per meter Kelvin. We are having our log mean area as 0.06, this one, our log mean area 0.0680. 0.0680 274.9 minus 297.1 is there, divided by 0.02 minus 0.005 equal to minus 15.2 watts. Or if we see here, that is minus 15.2 watts. Now this negative sign, this negative sign here, it indicates that the heat flow, our heat flow, write it in short form of HF, is from outside to inside. So this will indicate that the heat flow is from outside to inside. Since 15.2 watt is removed, now we are saying that 15.1 watt is removed for 1 meter length, the needed length which is required. How do we find needed length to remove our total heat of 14.65 watt? So here what we find is that it is removing excess of heat for 1 meter. For 1 meter we are getting 15.2 watt removed for 1 meter length of cooling coil. So for removing 14.2 watts, 14.65 watts, the length will be, if we calculate it, we divide it by 15.2 watt per meter, we get around 0.964 meters. If we note that thermal conductivity of the material, which is rubber here, that is 0.15 watt per meter Kelvin, is quite small. Generally metal cooling coils are used, so the thermal conductivity of metals are quite high. So the liquid film resistance in this case are also quite small and can be neglected. Now we approach to our the topic, which is conduction through a hollow sphere. So conduction through a hollow sphere, let's see. We derive the mathematical equation for the same. So heat conduction through a hollow sphere is another case of one-dimensional conduction using Fourier's law for constant thermal conduction with this distance dr, where r is the radius of the sphere. We can approach for a specific formula. So we are having a sphere which is inside this hollow. We are having different radii for the same. Inside radii r1, outside radii r2. It's a sphere. So this is a sphere. Now what we see is that the other surfaces are at different temperatures. Inside surface is P1 and outside surface is P2. If we write a Fourier law for thermal conductivity, Q by A, our heat flux, then go to minus K thermal conductivity dt by dr, the temperature gradient by resistance. Now the cross-sectional area, which is normal to the heat flow, cross-sectional area, which is normal to the heat flow, that is short form of HF, is A is equal to, we can write it 4 pi r square. Now if we derive to substitute the same, we rearrange this our equation 2. So what we get? So this, first of all we write 4 pi r square, so Q by 4 pi r square equal to minus k dt by dr, or we can write it as dr by r square from r1 to r2, 4 pi k minus d1 from p1 to p2. So if we solve this equation, we get equation of some kind of form. Q is equal to 4 pi k T1 minus T2, our temperature gradient, divided by 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. Or in other words, we can write it as T1 minus T2 divided by 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2 divided by 4 pi k. So it can be easily shown that the temperature varies hyperbolically with the radius. Now we move towards we start our next problem here. So our next topic is conduction through solid within steady. So plane walls in series. So we are having, okay, in the example of plane walls in series. Let's see. So in the case where there is a multi-layer wall of more than one material present, we proceed as follows. The temperature profile in this material such as A, B and C are, we draw a multi-layer wall first. We see, so if there are plane walls in series. Suppose there is wall, this is a wall, let it be 1, another wall is there, this is 2, another wall is there, this is 3. So these are different temperatures. Let there be 3 walls, multiple walls, A, B, C. We are having certain temperatures here, that is T1, T2 here, T3 here, T4. Okay, now we see temperature flux is there, heat flux is there. Now heat is flowing from the side from A to C. We are having resistances as del X A, del X B, del X C. So three resistances here. Now, if we write the Fourier's law, the heat flow must be same in each layer since all materials and thicknesses of the materials are same and the conditions remaining same. Therefore, our heat flux material is same, the thickness of the material is also same. Other conditions remaining same, the heat flow must be same in each layer. We can write Fourier's law for each of these multiple walls in series. How? Let's see. Q is equal to Ka material A area, delta XA, which is our resistance or difference in this on this point, or the thickness of wall A, T1 minus T2, which will be equal to Kba, thermal conductivity of material B, wall B into A, delta XB. Cross sectional area of this wall is the same. So our walls do have same cross sectional area. The cross sectional area encountered is same for each of the wall. So KBA delta XB T2 minus T3 KCA delta XC T3 minus T4. By cross sectional area, I am talking for which cross sectional area? We are talking about this area. This has region. So where the area normal to the heat flow. So this area, and for each of the slab, the area, this cross sectional area encountered is same. Now we see that we solve for delta T. On solving for delta T. How do we solve for delta T here? T1 minus T2. What it is? So to Q delta XA divided by KAA. For T2 minus T3, we are having Q delta XB KBA. For T3 minus T4, we are having Q into delta XC KCA. Now, what if we add this T1 minus T2, adding, if we write this as different equation number 3, equation number 4 and equation number 5, adding 3, 4 and 5, what do we get? So, T1 minus T2 plus T2 minus T3 plus T3 minus T4. So, minus T2 plus T2 cancels out, minus T2 plus T3 cancels out, we are left with T1 minus T4. So, equal to what it is? We will take Q common here. Delta XA by KA, delta XB, KBA, delta XC, KCA, or P is equal to P1 minus P4 divided by delta XA by KA plus delta XB KBA under connectivity plus C into A delta XC KCA. So these are all resistances of slab 1 or wall 1, wall 2, wall 3. So in other words, we can write it as T1 minus T4 divided by RA, resistance of wall A, resistance of wall B, resistance of wall C, RA plus RB plus RC. Where these resistances RA are delta XA by KA. So RA is delta XA by KA, RB is delta XA by KXC. This one RA is delta XA by KA. So RB is actually RC is also the same. So hence the final equation in terms of overall temperature drop T1 minus T4 and total resistances RA, RB and RC. This is how this approach to the problem of conduction to solid series where plain water arranged in a series fashion. So that's all for this. Please subscribe to my channel KME19 Fundamentals by Abir Chakraborty and give a like button with a like. Thank you very much and please keep watching for upcoming videos.